So a few weeks ago, author J.P. Harker issued a challenge to Kayla from Crack Into a Good Book and me about saying Welsh words or phrases. And I called it Leslie's Weekly Word Challenge. A couple of days ago, Kayla had her version where she tried it. I'm going to have it linked below so you can check her video out. She did much better than me with my first one. So now JP Harker was like, all right, Leslie, it's back to you. So he gave me another phrase I'm going to try. So the phrase he gave me means I love to read. And here goes nothing. Dwin Caro Darien? I think the double L's mean something other than L's, but I gave it a Y like it was Spanish, so that's probably wrong. Oh, let's just add Welsh to the languages I will never be able to speak. What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to The Nerdy Narrative, a channel where I like to talk about all sorts of bookish related things in the science fiction, fantasy, horror, and manga genres. In today's episode of fun, I'm going to update you on all of the things that I read and what I'm still reading and what is next on deck. I gotta start out with a huge shout out to my patrons. Those of you that have been supporting me on Patreon, thank you so much. You've helped me do so many things as far as upgrading equipment. I got a new mic, lighting, I got a new camera, which has been the hugest upgrade for the channel. I thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I got 5 new patrons this week. I'm so grateful. Chris already has plans for some other equipment that he wants to get. I am so fortunate to have a husband that understands like aesthetic and just equipment and knows all of this stuff and is willing to do all the research to figure out what would be best, that, you know, just what would look visually pleasing and entertaining to you guys. So he has some ideas for some things that he wants to do. So I hope that that is exciting to you and that you're looking forward to seeing those pop up throughout this year in 2021. I got 2 new top tier patrons. Thank you so much, Jennifer M. and Mostly Books with Max. And then joining my mid-tier, Sharon Dwyer. You guys have heard me talk about her so much. Sharon has been a friend of mine for a very long time. We met on Shelf Space, but Sharon also recently started a channel. I'm gonna have her linked below. Whatever you may think about Patreon, please know that it is a huge help to us. I am insanely grateful for your pledges, and hopefully I make you proud with the growth on the channel. So again, thank you so much. I do want to tell you about a live stream that is happening tonight on the channel, Dark Between Pages. That is Nikki's channel. A lot of you have heard me mention her over the past year. She is a big time horror reader, and she also has a really fantastic series on her channel called Author Spotlight. And in her Author Spotlight videos, she has been interviewing so many indie and self-published authors, and you guys really should check that out because you may never know when you find your next favorite author. And in fact, because of one of those Author Spotlights, I became interested in an author by the name of Eric LaRocca. I'm going to have that video of his author spotlight in the description box down below. And in that author spotlight, Eric talked about his current novella that he has out that came out in 2020, Starving Ghost in Every Thread. He also mentioned one that is coming out in March of this year, and that one is called A Bright Enchanted Suffering. This is a collection of a couple of stories that Eric wrote. They are very macabre. They have some very interesting themes that are unique in their very own special way. Tonight on Nikki's channel, you can catch a live stream that's going to have a bunch of horror booktubers talking about A Bright Enchanted Suffering with Eric LaRocca. Eric has beautiful prose, some really fantastic new ideas that he's been putting out. I know he's got a collection that's either out or about to come out called Fanged Dandelion, and that is horror poetry, and I have got to get my hands on a copy because after reading the arc for A Bright Enchanted Suffering and Starving Ghost in Every Thread, I'm a huge fan of his writing style and I want more. Last week I thought I saw an end to Bookmas. I was wrong. Yesterday, I got in the mail The Forgetting Moon by Brian Lee Durfee, who some of you know I'm a huge fan of his channel. I have been dying to get my hands on his work. This is the first book in his series. It is a chunky boy. You know I like them with a little meat on them. Gives you something to hang on to. I am so excited to read this series. I just absolutely could not have been any happier than when I opened this. This was a gift from my friend Michelle. Michelle and I grew up in neighboring cities in Mississippi. When she found my channel early last year and we started talking and realized that we had that in common, we just became fast friends. You know, she's definitely kept up with me, the family, making sure everybody's healthy and happy. And oh man, I'm just so excited. I mean, the cover art is freaking awesome. I've heard about this book so much. My friend Alex Nieves read it recently and absolutely loved it. I cannot wait to get this one on the TBR. Alright guys, let's get into what I read last week. I finally completed my first complete book of 2021. I did finish one, but I started it in 2020, so we're not going to count that. So the book that I completed this week is Chapel Street by Sean Paul Murphy. I knew when I got this book and read about it that I was going to love it. I was not wrong, and when I started it, I just really got into it. It is so interesting. You know, being a horror story, it does have a few of those tropes that you're familiar with, but there are some added elements that just made it unique and compelling. I really enjoyed the characters. One of the main characters is a man named Rick, and I just really connected to him on an emotional level and with his thoughts towards religion. And I'm not going to go into more on that because it is definitely something much better discovered when reading than being told about, and I don't know that I would be able to do it justice. But the journey this man went on, both the horror element and the religious one, were fascinating. I absolutely enjoyed it, and I will be doing a dedicated review very soon. I want to actually read the author's blog in its entirety so I can give you the whole picture of where this originated from and why and all of that fun stuff, and just tie it all together. I'm gonna have his blog linked below about the events that happened in the haunted home that he lived in with his family. But the book was amazing. I really enjoyed it, so look for that review very soon. That wraps up all that I read. I started so many books at once that I've just been spending my time with all of them because they're all so good. I want to just stop and stick with one in particular because it's that good, except that they're all that good, so I'm just finding myself pulled in 4 different directions. But here we go. I'm still working on Scattered Little Pieces by Wayne Finland. This is a collection of drabble, which are stories that are only 100 words. It looks like I'm about halfway through them now. I'm gonna be sad when I reach the end because I've just really gotten attached to these little stories. So I'm gonna have to do some research, see if I can find some more collections like this. So if you know of any, please let me know in the comments down below. And then the next book that I'm still currently working my way through is Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. I am about, I would say, a quarter of the way through the story. It is so entertaining yet nerve-wracking. The main character is just, he has some serious mood swings. He is paranoid. He is confident. It's just crazy, and nothing that's happening is anything that I can predict, which is fun. And Dostoevsky's writing style just really appeals to me. I love it. It's just so simple and matter of fact, and I love it. It's just so easy to soak in, and once I pick this book up, I read through it so fast. This is probably the fastest read for me that I've discovered in a very long time, and I really attribute that to his writing style. So if you have been scared to pick up any of Dostoevsky's work or even Crime and Punishment, tamp that fear down, give it a shot. I've really been enjoying it. I am attempting to take it slow and take my time with it and just make sure I am soaking it all in properly the way that I want to. And if you would like to join me on this journey, or if you've read this and you want to see what I think about it, there is a channel on the Literary Discourse Discord that you can join that's called Crime and Punishment. But that is where I am putting all of my thoughts as I read through this one. There are several other people at various stages in the book that are also taking part. So please come by, check it out, join the conversation, and let's have some fun throwing around theories about what's really going on with my buddy Rascal. And then the final book that I am still currently reading is Gardens of the Moon, which is book 1 of the Malazan series by Steven Erikson. This book has just been an absolute surprise for me. I love it. Absolutely love it. From chapter 1, in love with it. I'm still not quite sure what exactly the big picture is that's going on, or if there's just several little things going on that haven't been tied in yet. Whatever the case, it's so interesting. All of the characters are so interesting. The magic system, my favorite that I have read in an extremely long time, probably because it's just so hardcore compared to what I read last year. I think everything I read last year was just very light or non-existent magic. This one is not that way, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the darkness and the grit and just everything that has been explored so far. I have been reading it so hard. I'm only allowing myself a chapter a day because I've been told Erikson does not write anything that doesn't have a meaning somewhere, that doesn't have a connection. In other words, he doesn't waste words. So I have been reading everything. I've actually gone back and double checked things I read in earlier chapters against something I've discovered in the chapter I'm in. It's been a lot of fun. I am absolutely enjoying the series so far. And just knowing this was Erikson's first book, I just bet the next ones are going to be absolutely phenomenal. But right now, I would describe this story as just a game of chess. We're getting all the pieces on the board and just strategizing where they need to move and how they're getting there. And as you know, chess pieces don't always move in straight lines. They have patterns and zigzags to where in order to get to their destination across the board. So that is kind of how I view this story. I'm really enjoying it. I can't wait to continue this series. So we've covered what I got, what I read, what I am currently reading. Let's talk about what I'm going to read next. A few weeks ago, I did a cover reveal for book 4 in the Nightmareland Chronicles by Daniel Barnett. That book is The Flashlighters. I'll have that video in the cards if you want to check that out. Not only do I do a cover reveal for book 4, I also kind of go through some thoughts that I had over the year as I read the first 3 books in the series. But I did receive the ARC to read and review, but I promised Brad Proctor we would buddy read it together as long as he promised to start reading it the day he got it. So he finally got his copy in the mail. So he and I will begin buddy reading The Flashlighters by Daniel Barnett later this afternoon. Based off the first 3 books that I read by Daniel Barnett, I know myself, I'm going to binge that book probably in one sitting. So once I finish The Flashlighters, then I'll be starting The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. Anybody that's been here any length of time, you've probably wondered why the last couple of weekly reading updates did not start with manga, and that is because I was waiting on my library to deliver my next series. Last year, I decided to pick up some manga to read, and I really enjoyed it. My friend Una from the Codex Cantina also loves manga, and he jumped in on some buddy reads with me, and then all of a sudden, it turned into Una crafting a reading plan to take me on a journey through all the different types of manga so I could just get exposed to all the different types, find the ones that I like the most so I can just really work my way through. And the next series that is on the reading plan is Ouran High School Book Club. I have seen this manga on so many booktubers' shelves because, let's be honest, when I watch booktubers, I am steadily looking at their shelves, seeing what's on it, and I've seen the box set on several shelves. So I know this one is very popular. I'm looking forward to trying it out for myself. We're going to start this on Monday. So if you have read this series and you want to come watch Una and I make our way through, I will have a link to the Discord down in the description box below. please come by. I've got a little channel set up for us to read it. If you want to read it with us, please do. I got all of these, like I said, from my library. My library has been awesome with making sure they have a very extensive amount of manga for us to check out, and I'm so thrilled. Alright guys, that'll do it. That takes care of what I got, what I read, what I'm currently reading, what I plan to read next. Hit me up in the comments down below. Have you read any of these books? Are you planning to read any of these books? Do you want to come read these books with me? Let me know down below, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to see what is happening in my little corner of the world. I hope you've had an amazing morning so far. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.